Current in the wire is flowing from A to B as shown in the figure, and a small coil is placed on that side of this wire. So it is placed like this. So what happens to the direction of flow of induced current in that coil? So this is the coil. So what is the direction of current induced in this one? First of all, here when the current is flowing like this, the flux through this coil will be outwards. Flux through the coil is outwards. Now, if the magnitude of current is not changing, if the current is continuously flowing with the same magnitude, flux through the coil also remains constant. So when there is no change in flux through this one, when the current is continuous and constant, no flux linked with this coil will change, no EMF will be induced in the coil. But here condition is, if the current is increasing, the first one is, if current increases, then what happens? The first point is, flux through coil increases. Number 2, when the flux through the coil increases, what is the direction of flux here? Flux is outwards according to Ampere's right hand thumb rule. Current is flowing like this, the flux through this coil is outwards and it is increasing. Why? Because here the current is increasing from A to B gradually. And now third point here, when the flux through the coil increases, according to Lenz law, the current, induced current flows through this coil such that it will try to decrease the flux. So here the outward flux is increasing. To decrease this one, an inward flux should induce here due to the induced current. So opposing flux should be, as the flux is increasing here, the flux due to induced current should decrease this one. So opposing flux should decrease the increasing flux. So to decrease this one, here it is outwards, the original flux is outwards, the opposing flux should be inwards here. So if the flux is inwards, what must be the direction of flow of current in the coil? So the induced current should be clockwise direction, CW. Now the fifth point, as the current is going to flow in the coil in the clockwise direction, here it is flowing like this, it acts as a south pole, but that is not important here. As these two currents are flowing parallel to each other for some portion, two current carrying conductors carrying current in opposite direction, if they are rotated, if the currents are in the same direction, here the magnetic field due to this one will be outwards, the magnetic field due to this one is inwards, these two attracts. But here, as the currents are opposite, these two repulse with each other. So repulsion takes place between coil and wire in this case. So these are the 5 points when the current is increasing. What happens if the current decreases here? In the next part, if current from A to B decreases, so what happens in this case? So I am going to discuss all these 5 points now. The first point is, when the current is decreasing, but it is flowing in the same direction from A to B only, but slowly current is decreasing, flux through the coil decreases. So flux through the coil decreases. This is the original flux. Second one, this flux is, as current is flowing like this is outwards only. So this is also outward flux here. Third case, opposing flux should try to increase this flux. Here opposing flux is trying to decrease, but opposing flux should increase this flux. How to increase the decreasing flux? Here flux is outwards and these lines are gradually decreasing. So direction of the current in the coil is such that it will try to increase the outgoing flux. So direction of current should be anti-clockwise direction to increase this flux. So current is in anti-clockwise direction. So due to this anti-clockwise direction current, here now the direction of current will change. So this is anti-clockwise current. The current will flow like this. Here both currents are traveling in the same direction. So whenever two conductors carry current in the same direction which are parallel for some distance, then they always attract with each other. So attraction takes place between coil and current, coil and wire. In the same problem, instead of current, let us say one electron is traveling from A to B. Then what happens to the direction of flow of current? How the current changes here? Now, electron from A to B. Remember, only one electron. When this electron is approaching this coil, so we can say that the current is coming in the opposite direction. So current from B to A. So here, when the electron is approaching nearer to this one, current approaches to this one, then as the current comes nearer to this one, flux through this one first increases. As the current moves away or electron passes away by, then current also passes away here, then flux decreases. So first increases and then decreases. So first flux increases and then later it decreases. When the flux is increasing, what happens to the current? Here, when the flux is increasing, current will be such that it will try to decrease the flux. So here, current is in this direction, flux is inwards. So the outward flux should be there because of the induced current here. So current is first anti-clockwise direction. When the electron comes to here, current will be in this direction here. So as the current is moving away, flux is decreasing to try to increase the flux. So then current will be clockwise. So here, for the first half, current moves in anti-clockwise direction. For the second half, current will be in the clockwise direction. Why? Because first flux is increasing and then flux is decreasing due to this electron movement. Next topic, in induced EMF. Induced EMF can be achieved by two different methods. One is called motional EMF. Second one is called changing field EMF. So first we will discuss about this motional EMF. So what is this motional EMF? The EMF induced in a wire due to the motion of that conductor in the magnetic field. So let me take one magnetic field here. In a magnetic field, if you keep a conductor of length L and if you move it through this one with a velocity V, an EMF will be induced between the two ends of this one. Here I am going to take one conductor of length L here. So this is a conductor. If you move this one with a velocity V here, let me take this end as A, this end as B. And the length of this wire in this case is L here. Magnetic field induction in this case is B. Motional EMF is EMF induced in a moving conductor through a magnetic field. In this case, whenever this wire or this conductor is passing through this one, it is cutting the magnetic field. So when it is cutting this magnetic field, some EMF will be induced between the two ends of the wire. But how? You see, here let me take one charge particle here which is Q here. I am taking Q here. Now, when this conductor is moved towards the right side by using Fleming's left hand rule, the field is acting inwards. Here, the magnetic field is acting inwards. The charge is moving towards left. Then, this is the direction of motion of the charge. Why? Because I am moving this conductor in this direction. So, this charge is moving in this direction. So, this charge will experience a force in the upward direction. So, according to Fleming's left hand rule, field is into the board, charge is moving towards right because I am moving the conductor towards right here, and it will experience a force in the upward direction. So, this positive charge will try to move upwards. So, positive charge will be accumulated here. And if you move this continuously through this magnetic field, more and more positive charges will be accumulated on the upper end of the rod. As a result, the positive charge are moving, and negative charge will be induced at the lower end of the rod. Now, as the accumulation of positive charges are more on the upper end and the negative charges are accumulating at the lower end of the rod, there exists electric field between these two ends of the wire or conductor. So, electric field will act vertically downwards. So, I am denoting this electric field with E. Due to the motion of this charge in the magnetic field, it is experiencing magnetic force vertically upwards. Here, the magnetic force is vertically upwards according to Fleming's left hand rule, which is given by B, Q, V, sin 90 is 1. Similarly, due to electric field, the same charge will experience another force, that is electric force. So, the electric force is given by electric field strength into charge Q. Now, the charges will be accumulated in this region till the upward force is more. If the downward force and upward force are equal, then this charge can neither goes up or nor comes down. So, in this condition, the electric force will be equal to the magnetic force. So, here I am going to write in equilibrium condition, when the magnetic force is equal to electric force, we can write BQV is equal EQ, cancel Q and Q. So, we can write BV is equal to E, BV is equal to E, equation 1. So, this is the first expression. Now, after this, what is the potential difference between this end to this end? The potential difference produced between these two ends is given by, here I am going to write, PD developed between ends A and B. So, what is the potential difference? We know that electric field is the potential difference per unit length. So, in this case, the potential difference between the two ends is going to be product of these two. So, here I am going to write the potential difference between ends A and B is given by electric field between these two ends into length of the conductor L. So, this E already we got it as BV here. So, I can write this as BV into L. So, the potential difference between the two ends of the rod is given by VA minus VB, which is equal to BVL. So, this is the potential difference produced between two ends of the rod when it is cutting the flux or moving through the magnetic field. In this case, we can find out the direction of flow of current through that wire. So, for this we need Fleming's right hand rule. So, the direction of the flow of induced current is given by Fleming's right hand rule gives the direction of induced current. So, what is this Fleming's right hand rule? So, stretch out your thumb, forefinger and middle finger such that they are mutually perpendicular to each other here. So, when these three are mutually perpendicular to each other, let us say this is the thumb here and this is the forefinger, this is the middle finger and these are the two fingers. So, here I am going to take this. So, the thumb indicates the direction of motion of the conductor. And the middle, this forefinger gives the field direction and this will give the direction of the induced current. So let me apply this Fleming's right hand rule here. Don't confuse between Fleming's left hand rule and right hand rule. Fleming's left hand rule is used to find the force experienced by a charged particle or force experienced by current carrying conductor. But Fleming's right hand rule is in the second lesson. The previous one was in moving charges. Now it is in electromagnetic induction. In this case, the field is acting inwards. So in both laws, the forefinger will give the magnetic field direction only. Here there thumb indicates the force, here thumb indicates the direction of motion, is nothing but the direction along which we are applying force only. So this is the field, this is the direction of motion of the conductor, and the middle finger will give the direction of the flow of induced current. Here current flows from B end to A end. So current flows from B to A according to current flows from B to A. But we may have a doubt. Sir, you are telling that this is at negative potential, this is at positive potential. Already you wrote VA minus VB is equal to BBL. But how current flows from negative to positive? Remember students, current always flows from positive terminal to negative terminal in a given circuit. In current electricity, if you consider a circuit, closed circuit here, this is the positive terminal, this is the negative terminal. So current flows from positive terminal to negative terminal throughout the circuit, that is called external circuit. But what is the direction of current within the cell here? Within the cell current is flowing from negative to positive. So in any electrical source, current flows from negative to positive terminal. In the external circuit, current flows from positive to negative terminal. So please remember this difference. So here also the conductor acts as a source of EMF. So this moving conductor acts as a source of EMF. That is just like a battery in our simple electrical circuit. So here also the current is moving from negative terminal to positive terminal within this one. And if you connect to a wire here, then current flows from positive to negative externally with the help of a resistor here. Then current flows externally from positive to negative only. But inside the wire or inside the conductor, this is just like a source of EMF. Current flows from low potential to high potential. Why? Because in some problems they may ask you to find out the point where the potential is maximum. So by applying this one, this is the field, this is the motion, this is the direction of current. Current is from negative to positive within the wire. In the same motion EMF, a moving rod sliding along U-shaped frame or conductor, completing a closed circuit, let us say with velocity here, some velocity. Let the length of this rod is L. Now the distance between this frame and this one is, let us say, X. If we move this rod with some velocity V, here we can write this is a closed circuit. So EMF will be induced here and the current also flows through this one as it is a closed circuit. So EMF induced is given by minus d phi by dt, which is equal to minus d by dt of this is BA, because flux is equal to BA here. Now as magnetic field is constant here, so let me bring B outside. The remaining terms are d by dt of A here. What is this A? A is the area that is changing here. Now in this present diagram, L is the length of the conductor, X is the width of this frame. So area of this one is equal to L into X. If you move this one up to here, this rod, if the rod comes up to here, if it comes up to here, L remains as it is, but X will change. So here the variable is X. So we can write B into d by dt of area is equal to L into X. In this, B is a constant, already I brought it outside. L is the length of the conductor, whether it is here, length remains constant L. The remaining terms are dx by dt. What is this dx by dt? The rate at which x is changing with respect to time. So this you can write B L, and dx by dt is velocity of this conductor, which is already given here. So the EMF induced in this conductor is given by E is equal to BLV. In the previous case also, there we got it as V is equal to BVL. This is the potential difference between the two ends of that one. Here the potential difference between these two, let me take it as A here and B here. So by now I am going to use which point or which end will be at high potential. So to find out this one, first of all I need to find out the induced current in this one. So field is into the boat, rod is moving towards right, and this is the direction of the current flowing here. So current is flowing from B to A. So in this case current flows from B to A. So when the current is flowing from B to A here, we know that rod acts as a source of EMF, and within the source of EMF current always flows from low potential to high potential. Outside the battery or outside the source, current flows from high to low potential. Here it is from high to low potential, but within this rod it is from low to high potential. So point B is at low potential. So B is at low potential and A is at high potential. The magnetic field induction is B. A rod of length L is moved through the field at an angle theta with the field. So what is the EMF induced in this one? This is given by, generally we write BVL. Here magnetic field is a vector, velocity is a vector, L is the length of this conductor. So L into V bar cross B bar. So you can write E is equal to L into V cross B is equal to VB sin theta. So EMF induced is given by BVL sin theta. So from this, when the EMF induced between the two ends will be maximum, if theta is equal to 90, if the rod is moving perpendicular to the field, EMF induced between the two ends will be maximum. If the rod is moving along the field, EMF will be 0 because theta will be 0. So here E max is equal BVL and E minimum is equal to 0. Similarly, in this case, I have taken a conductor of irregular shape here, and magnetic field induction is B, and this conductor is moved in this one along this direction at an angle theta with the field. So what is the EMF induced between the two ends of this rod? Here let me take this point as A, this point as B. So EMF induced in this rod is given by magnetic field B, velocity V, but what is L value here? The formula is BVL sin theta for a straight rod or irregular rod, but what is the length of this one? Here this is a small length DL1, DL2, DL3, DL4. If you add divide into small portions here, then the total length of this rod will be given by, or total length of this irregular rod is nothing but the shortest distance between these 2 points. So this will become L of this one into sin theta. So EMF is given by here BVL sin theta, where L is the shortest distance between the two ends of this rod. In the same field, let us say this is the field. If rod is placed like this, and now what is the EMF induced between these two ends? So I need to consider only this length only, but not this entire length. So now third case, here you can see this one. There is a rod of length L1 and another rod of length, let me take this as L2, and it is making some angle theta 1 here, this is making angle theta 2. So what is the EMF induced in this rod between 2 points A and B if this is moved with a velocity V towards right? So this is the continuation of that case here. EMF induced is equal to E1 due to the first rod plus E2 due to the second rod. But if you take the shortest distance or the connect the two ends with a straight line here, this is the straight line. So this is the total length of this rod. So EMF is going by BV into L, which is going by BV into this L can be written as L1 and this one. I will take Y1 here, from here to here Y1, from here to here Y2. So what is Y1 here? Sin theta 1 is equal to Y1 by L1. Sin theta 1 is equal to Y1 by L1. Y1 will be this L can be written as Y1 plus Y2. So EMF induced is equal to BV into Y1 can be written as L1 sin theta 1 plus L2 sin theta 2. So this is the EMF induced between the two ends of this rod. Motional EMF induced in a rotating bar. Here a rod of length, a bar of length L is pivoted at point O here, and it is rotated in this direction. So here, as it is cutting the flux, EMF will be induced between the two ends of this rod. But you can see in the previous cases, the entire rod is moving through the field. So each and every part of the rod is moving, that means it is having translatory motion. So it was moving along a straight line. So this portion is moving by 2 centimeters. This also moves by 2 centimeters. This also moves by 2 centimeters. But here, this end is pivoted here. Only the other end is moving in this direction. So different segments of the wire or bar will have different linear velocities, but the angular velocity remains same. So that's why let me take a small portion of this rod. Let us say the distance of this point from here to here is R, and the thickness of this one is dr here. So what is the EMF induced in this small portion? So EMF induced in small segment of this bar is given by, I am going to write this as DE, a small EMF induced here, which is given by BVL. So magnetic field B, velocity V, and the length of this conductor, this small element is dr here. So this can also be written as DE is equal to magnetic field B. What is the velocity of this small portion here? We know that each and every part will have same angular velocity. So V is given by R omega. So for this small element, V can be written as R into omega. So this is R omega into dr. This is equation 1. The EMF induced in the small segment of this entire bar. So what is the total EMF induced here? The total EMF induced in this case is given by E is equal to integral dE, which is equal to integral B omega R dr. And here the variable is R. What is the minimum value of R? 0. What is the maximum value of R? L. So the limits are 0 and L. So we can bring this magnetic field constant outside, angular velocity is constant. We can write this as B omega integral R power 1 dr with limits 0 to L. So the EMF induced between these two rods, between these two ends of this rod is going by B omega R square by 2 with limits 0 to L. Now if you substitute this value here in place of R, you can write L. So this will become B omega L square by 2. So this is the EMF induced between the two ends. Here, which end will be at high potential, which end will be at low potential? For this, I am going to use Fleming's right hand rule. Field is into this one, rod is moving like this, current should flow downwards. That is, if it is O, and I can write this end as small a here, current flows from A to O by using Fleming's left hand rule. So rod is moving in this direction, field is into this board, current flows from A to B. So this is at high potential, this is at low potential. So we can write this as potential difference between A minus potential difference between A and O. So this is the potential difference between the two ends of this rod. Now, in the same case, for example, if you consider a magnetic field such that this is the magnetic field, in a magnetic field, if a rod is placed such that it is perpendicular to the magnetic field and the length of the rod is L and the midpoint is O. So this rod is rotating about its own axis like this, about the own axis. So angular velocity here in this case is omega, which is upwards here and it is downwards here. And let me take this point as A, this point as B. Now what is the EMF induced between O and A? First let me find out. So EMF induced between O and A is given by EMF induced between O and A. First of all, which is at high potential, which is at low potential. So let me take only this half portion here, this one only. As I am concentrating to find out the, considering only this rod here, half of the length of the rod. Here field is inwards, rod is moving downwards. So A will be at high potential. So this is EAO, which is nothing but E minus this one. Now in this case, what is the EMF between 2 points here? B omega square of the length by 2. So I am going to write this as magnetic field in this case is B only, angular velocity omega. So B omega, the length of the rod in this case is L, but I am taking only half of the length of the rod. So L square will become L by 2 whole square by 2. So EMF between AO is given by B omega L square by 8. This is equation 1. Similarly, if you consider this portion, here field is inwards and rod is moving up and current will flow from B to O. So the potential difference between B to O is given by, this is also B omega L square by 8 only. So what is the potential difference between the two ends of the rod? The potential difference between two ends of the rod is given by EAB, which is equal to EA minus EB. So this is equal to EA minus E0, EO. This is equal to EB minus EO. So how to get EA minus EB? This minus this will give, that is EA minus EO minus EB minus EO. Here minus EO plus EO get cancels. Once again you will get EA minus EB. So to get this value EA minus EB, subtract this minus this and finally you will get EA minus EB as 0 only. Instead of rotating rod, let me take one rotating disc here. So this is x-axis, this is y-axis and the disc is in xy plane and it is rotating about z-axis here. The radius of this disc is r. So what is the EMF induced here between the center of this disc to the rim of the disc, that means any point on the rim of the disc. So to find out the potential difference between these two, let me take one small portion here in this, first join these two, and in this you take a small portion at a distance, let me take it as r, small r, and this will become dr here. So what is the EMF induced in this small portion? We know motional EMF is given by dE is equal BVL. So this is BV into the distance here is dr only, because this portion only, the length of that small elemental is dr. Why we are taking integration here? This portion when rotating in this direction like this will have a different velocity, this will have a different linear velocity. This velocity is V1, V2, V3. This will be V4, so this will be V5. See, in the same time interval, this will come here, this will go here. So it is traveling more distance, but it is traveling less distance, it is negligible. That means different parts of this disc will have different velocities in this one or different speeds here. That's why I am taking a small portion, I am integrating this one. So this you can write dE is given by B into, what is velocity of this small portion? So linear velocity r omega, so r into angular velocity omega here given into dr. So dE can be written as B omega r dr. This is equation 1. So what is the net EMF induced between the center and rim of the disc? So EMF induced between center of disk and its rim is given by E is equal integral dE, which is given by integral b omega r dr, b omega r power 1 dr. So bring the constants outside. Here magnetic field is acting along z axis, here b, so this is b, here it is given as b. Omega is also angular velocity constant, integral r power 1 dr. What is the minimum value of r here? Small r can be 0 or maximum value is radius of the disk. So I am going to take the limits as 0 to r. So from this we can write, this can be written as b omega r square by 2 with the limits 0 to r, and by substituting this value we will get b omega r square by 2. So this is the EMF induced between the center to the rim of this disk. Based on this formula, there is a problem. A wheel with 10 metallic spokes, each of 0.5 meter long, is rotated with a speed of 120 revolutions per minute in a plane normal to a Earth's magnetic field at a place. If the Earth magnetic field at that place is 0.4 Gauss, what is the induced EMF between axle and the rim? So this is the axle here, the rod, and the rim here, and the field is acting horizontally here, and the magnitude of the field is given as 0.4 Gauss. What is the EMF induced between two ends of a single rod? First let me find out EMF between 0 and 1 here. This is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 spokes. So EMF induced between 0 and 1 here, that is the first rod, we can say. The EMF induced is given by, for a rod, the formula is b omega L square by 2. If it is a disk, b omega r square by 2, but it is b omega L square by 2. So E between 0 and 1 is given by b omega L square by 2, where L is the length of this rod, which is also equal to the radius of this wheel. So I can write this as b omega r square by 2. So EMF induced between 0 and 1 is equal to b omega r square by 2. So I can write, we can write this as b omega, multiply this with r square with pi divided by 2 into pi. So just multiply this one, both numerator and denominator with pi. This can be written as pi r square is the area of this wheel. So this is equal to b omega area of this wheel by 2 pi. Now the angular velocity with which it is rotating is given by omega is equal to 2 pi f. So what is omega by 2 pi, which is equal to f? So EMF induced between 0 and 1 is given by b. This omega by 2 pi can be written as f. So this is BAF. So this is another expression which can be used in this type of rotating disc, rotating wheel, or rotating bar. Now this can be written as, what are the values now? The magnetic field induction is 0.4 Gauss. So 1 Gauss is equal to 10 power minus 4 Tesla. So this is 0.4 into 10 power minus 4 Tesla. What is the area of this one? Pi r square. So pi into radius is 0.5 meters. That is the length of each spoke also. So this is 1 by 2 whole square. And what is the frequency here? Here the wheel is rotating at 120 revolutions per minute. So 120 revolutions per minute can be written as 120 revolutions by 60 seconds. So this can be written as 2 revolutions per second. Frequency is nothing but number of revolutions made by any body per second. So this we call it as frequency of revolution. So in place of f you can write 2 here. So this is 2. So now you can write this 4 into 10 power minus 5 into, this is 22 by 7, you can write 3.14. This is 1 by 4 into 2, this cancels, 2 cancel, 2 into 3.14 will be 6.28 into 10 power minus 5. So this is the EMF induced between 0 and 1. So this can also be written as, so this is equal to 62.8 into 10 power minus 6 volts, or EMF between 0 and 1 is given by 62.8 microvolts. This is the potential difference between 0 and 1. But what is the potential difference between 0 and 2? That is also equal to 0, 62.8 microvolts. Between 0 and 3, 62.8 microvolts. This between these two also 62.8 microvolts. Between 0 and 5, all these rods are connected parallel to each other. So potential difference between any one ends of the rods is equal to potential difference between any other two ends of the rod. That's why the total potential difference between the axle and rim of this wheel will be equal to the same value. Even this wheel consists of 1 lakh spokes here, then also the potential difference between the two ends of this one, that is axle and rim of the wheel, will be equal to the same value. It does not depend upon the number of spokes there, as these are connected in parallel.